What are the real questions self-critic for an entrepreneur should be while investing any single rupee?
I think the most difficult question which sometimes the entrepreneurs fail to ask themselves, am I suitable for this business? So you have to identify that what is the driver which gives me the confidence that I am going to be successful in this venture.
Which is most vulnerable for disruption in logistics industry?
The large unorganized segment in logistics industry which is still there in India. The ability of large organizations to burn money and work at a lower margin or achieve economy of scale. These small entrepreneurs are going to find it very, very difficult. So either they need to consolidate or they need to find a very clear niche that what would help them to survive. The survival of smaller players is going to be very, very difficult in next 3, 5, 7 years.
How does the decision of entrepreneurship came in your life?
Transition to entrepreneurship cannot be like switching a button. कि कल तक तो मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं जॉब करूंगा और suddenly सुबह मुझे सपना आया कि I should become an entrepreneur. The entrepreneurship is more about mindset. From the very beginning, I was lucky probably that at the age of 31 years, I was managing director of a listed company. So I was running the organization like an entrepreneur only.
What do you feel, sir, biggest misconceptions entrepreneurs have about the business?
Every youngster today wake up with an idea that I want to create a unicorn. Most of the startups unfortunately do not do well or fail are not because they had a bad idea. It is because of improper execution.
Cash flow trap is very, very dangerous for any organization. How in particularly logistics industry or connected industry, cash flow trap बन जाता है for the entrepreneurs? नमस्कार दोस्तों, लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति के पॉडकास्ट चैनल में एक बार फिर से आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। जैसा हमारा आपको कमिटमेंट है, प्रॉमिस है, वादा है कि लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री में और लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री से जुड़े हुए उन तमाम बड़ी हस्ती को आपके सामने हम लेके आते हैं कि जिनके लाइफ के और जिनके बिजनेस लाइफ के एक्सपीरियंसेस से हम और आप मिलके कुछ सीख सकते हैं और उनकी उस सीख को, उनकी उन लर्निंग्स को हमारी अपनी लाइफ में, हमारे बिजनेस के डे टू डे लाइफ में इम्प्लीमेंट करके सक्सेस ले सकते हैं। हमारे लॉजिस्टिक्स इंडस्ट्री और सप्लाई चेन के प्रोफेशनल्स के लिए और पर्टिकुलरली एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए आज का जो एपिसोड है वो बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है। हम लोग लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति में एक नया सीरीज शुरू कर रहे हैं, आइडिया टू आईपीओ, कि कैसे आप एक बिजनेस का आइडिया लेके आए और उसको एक निर्वाणा स्टेज तक लेके आके वैल्यू अनलॉक करके आईपीओ लेवल पे ले जाके उसको प्रोफेशनली ऑटो पायलट रन बिजनेस में कन्वर्ट कर पाए। इस सीरीज में हम लोग आपको एटलीस्ट मिनिमम 5 बड़े एपिसोड्स लेके आएंगे और आज के एपिसोड की जो हम शुरुआत कर रहे हैं वो है कि हाउ टू कन्वर्ट आइडिया इनटू अ बिजनेस। ये जो एपिसोड है वो लगभग 7 सेगमेंट में कंप्लीट होने वाला है कि आपने आइडिएशन कैसे करा बिजनेस का, बिजनेस को फिर रजिस्टर्ड करके एक आइडेंटिटी में कन्वर्ट करा, इनिशियल कैसे चैलेंजेस आते हैं, फाउंडर अपना विजन कैसे सेटअप कर रहे हैं, इनिशियल फाइनेंशियल डिसिप्लिन कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, किस लेवल पे आपको फंडिंग चाहिए, किस लेवल पे फंडिंग की जरूरत नहीं है, कैश फ्लो कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, वैल्यूएशन कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट है, ग्रोथ कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट है, टीम बिल्डिंग कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, ओवरऑल इनिशियल डेज में एंटरप्रेन्योर्स की क्या ट्रेड्स इंपॉर्टेंट हैं। इन सारी चीज़ों पे हम डिस्कशन करेंगे और डिस्कशन करने के लिए इतने इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक के लिए एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पर्सनालिटी का और बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सक्सेसफुल पर्सन का, लीडर का होना बहुत ज़रूरी है। और उसी के लिए हमारे बीच में आज हैं डायनामिक ऑर्बिट्स के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर, मेरे खुद के पर्सनल हमारे मेंटर हैं, जितने बिजनेस पर्सनली हम लोग कर रहे हैं लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति में, कंटिन्यूसली वो मेंटरशिप करते हैं। और आपने देखा भी होगा पिछले लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति के अवार्ड्स और फंक्शन और इवेंट्स के जो डायनामिक ऑर्बिट्स है वो हमारा नॉलेज पार्टनर्स भी है। तो उनकी नॉलेज से हम इस तरीके के काम को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। तो मिस्टर BL बजाज के बारे में मैं थोड़ा सा ब्रीफ में आपको बोलूँगा, बाकी हम सर से खुद पर्सनली सुनना चाहेंगे। क्लोज टू 3.5 डिकेड का सर का एक्सपीरियंस है। इनिशियल उनकी जो कॉर्पोरेट लाइफ है, इनिशियल बिगनिंग डेज जो टाटा ग्रुप जैसे लार्ज कंग्लोमरेट्स के साथ उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया, मिड साइज कंपनीज लाइक जो इंडिया की बड़ी बिजनेस ग्रुप्स हैं उनके साथ काम किया है और मल्टीनेशनल कंपनी में काम करा है। और क्लोज टू 15 साल काम करने के बाद उन्होंने अपनी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जर्नी स्टार्ट करी और एक ही हैज़ बीन अ वेरी सक्सेसफुल सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर। मल्टीपल बिजनेस को क्रिएट करा है, कुछ एक सक्सेसफुल भी रहे होंगे, कुछ एक में चैलेंजेस भी आए होंगे, वो भी हमें सुनने को मिलेगा। और कई जगह में सक्सेसफुल एग्जिट लिया है, सक्सेस कई जगह को डाइवर्सिफाई करा है। तो करंटली जो डायनामिक ऑर्बिट्स है वो काम करता है ऑर्गेनाइजेशन रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग, मर्जर एंड एक्विजिशंस, फंड रेजिंग इन अ डिफरेंट डाइवर्स verticals or the industries, helping companies want to operate in India from a rest of the world, how to strategize their strategy to be successful, how Indian company can go abroad and build their business and kind of a strategy they can develop. And beyond this, he has a very good neck on logistics. He has been in the board of as an independent director, India's leading logistics companies. So we found he is the best person to have on this episode to start with and continuously taking this journey of idea to IPO. Thank you very much sir, Bajaj sir, for taking time for Logistics Shakti. हम काफ़ी टाइम से आपको चेस कर रहे थे, फाइनली आज हम पहुँचे हैं. Thank you very much, and not only thank you for this episode, and thank you again from the entire logistics community of Logistics Shakti to being our mentor and knowledge partner as Dynamic Orbits. तो थोड़ा सा जर्नी आप बताइए, मैंने थोड़ा ब्रीफ में बताने की कोशिश करी है. जी सर.
Thank you Amit, and thank you all the audience. Thanks for your kind words and all the good words you spoke about me. The journey of last 35 years has been quite interesting and exciting, and one part of that journey has been being associated with your Logistics Shakti initiatives. And I find that the initiative which you initiated long time back in avatar of T2P consultant has evolved significantly over last almost 10 years, if I can say. And I continuously see improvement, the scale in terms of the quality of event, in terms of the quality of content, and in terms of quality of audience. It is remarkable. I think you are doing a great job in creating like an educative ecosystem for the logistics industry, which is the need of hour. Historically, Indian logistics industry has evolved from a unorganized, unstructured, family-managed enterprises. Last 10 years, we have seen evolution of large startups, large organized players, even entry of multinationals. So the stark difference between what it used to be and what it is now has a lot of things to learn. So more we talk about, it's better. And the platforms like Logistics Shakti, I believe, can play a significant role in bridging this gap of transition for the family managed Indian enterprise to evolve in large professionally managed organizations. My own journey, I think you have already summarized. I have been in corporate sector for 15 years. By education, I am a chartered accountant, company secretary, but I was never in profession. I was always in business. So my business always involved two legs. One is financial, which is mostly collaborations, joint ventures, fundraising. And other part has been the hardcore chemical business. So these are the two businesses which are close to my heart. And I continue to remain engaged directly or indirectly in these two businesses for last 35 years. In between, yes, we started certain interesting businesses, scaled up, and made some successful exits. So that gives us a lot of insight in terms of the full life cycle of business, right from beginning from idea stage to, as you rightly said, to the taking it to the logical conclusion, which could be an IPO or it could be an exit. So it would be interesting to talk about all these things in this platform, and over to you.
So how did you take decision after 15 years of corporate journey, a large successful on a large conglomerate like Tata and then multinational companies? How does the decision of entrepreneurship came in your life out of business opportunity or a gap you identified, or maybe some frustration in a corporate life?
I think frustration is the last word
Many
I would
times we
like
do
to
that.
use. It was not a frustration at all. And I would say that the transition to entrepreneurship cannot be like switching a button कि कल तक तो मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं जॉब करूंगा और सडनली सुबह मुझे सपना आया कि I should become an entrepreneur. It is a process and it is more to do with the mindset. So while even working in a corporate sector, you can work with an entrepreneurial mindset. And I see a lot of founders who work with the mindset after raising funds like they are working in their own company as an employee. So the entrepreneurship is more about mindset. And I think from the very beginning, I was lucky probably that at the age of 31 year, I was managing director of a listed company in mid 90s. So I was running the organization like an entrepreneur only. So it was but natural for me to transition to the entrepreneurial part sooner or later. In 2004, I found an opportunity that I can gainfully utilize my experience both in the investment banking side and chemical side. As an entrepreneur, I found some good well-wishers who were willing to be part of my journey, and that was the beginning. So I would always say that this entrepreneurial mindset was always there. I was just waiting for the right opportunity, which I found in 2004, and I started that journey 22 years back.
So in fact, in this segment of initial discussion, we are talking about entrepreneurial spark. So that spark was there.
True.
Right. So that has motivated you to get into the entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. So the spark and mindset was there. It was just waiting for the right time and right business model. The moment I found that, I started.
So what do you feel, sir, biggest misconceptions people have or entrepreneurs have or the aspiring entrepreneurs have about the business?
I think because now I am 60, so I would like to divide this in two parts. The conventional people, 15, 20 years back, before this evolution of all this VC culture, people were very conservative and very hesitant to become entrepreneur because at that time the sense of security was very very important and the funds were not so easily available, so people were very cautious. Nowadays, because there are a lot of VC funds and people read all these stories of billionaire and unicorns and all, so every youngster today wake up with an idea that I want to create an unicorn. But I just want to add a word of caution that while it is exciting and there is no harm in dreaming, if we don't dream, we won't achieve anything. But the dream has to be combined with the ground realities of life. So having idea is only starting your journey. You have to go in much greater detail before you embark upon entrepreneurship or a journey as a business person, because the devil lies in detail. Most of the startups which unfortunately do not do well or fail are not because they had a bad idea. No idea is bad idea. It is because of improper execution. So you have to plan very carefully what you want to do, how you want to do, from where you are going to get resources, from where you are going to get technology, from whom you are going to buy, whom you are going to sell, why anybody should buy from you, why anybody should sell you, why anybody should fund you. You have to answer some tough questions yourself before you present this to anybody else. And the initial journey is not going to be smooth. People want to see you how you perform. People want to see proof of concept. Even if you want to recruit someone, people are very skeptical that it's just an initial idea.
Yeah.
You might fail. I don't want to take a chance. So you have to spend a lot of time before jumping into it. So more homework you do, more tough questions you ask yourself, your chances of success will be better.
If you go back 25 or 30 years back of your journey, you are a 25-year-old, young, energetic. You are still young, no question on that.
True.
Absolutely, but having a lot of appetite to take risks and given a chance in logistics and supply chain. So, what kind of startup you would like to do?
So you are narrowing down my option to logistics and supply chain, and obviously so because we are on Logistics Shakti platform. Today, when I closely watch the logistics industry of India and for that matter globally, I find three gaps there. One is there is lot of dependence on unskilled or semi-skilled people. And in my opinion, in spite of being a country of 1.4 billion and with largest population in the world now, I believe the manpower is a biggest challenge for any industry today. So creating a training ecosystem for the unskilled and semi-skilled manpower, that is absolutely important because the industry is by nature manpower intensive industry. So the consistent supply of quality manpower is absolutely important, and that is missing in the drivers, in the loaders, in the packers. You need people who are efficient. And secondly, I find that it leads to the issue of efficiency. Today we talk our logistics cost is very high compared to global standards. Why so? We are supposed to be a low cost manpower country. Why?
Yeah,
It is purely because of
skilling
inefficiencies
is
in
not
the system. So very carefully working on removing inefficiencies. Third, I won't see it is an issue, but I would say it is an opportunity. The world is becoming smaller and smaller. And it is not geography is history, as they say. In spite of all these wars and geopolitical situation, you cannot stop the global trade. So today you have to think the entire global ecosystem as a market. So there is huge opportunity for cross-border logistics innovation, which is dominated by few key large players. And Indian entrepreneurs have a lot of scope to do something, some wonders there. Because whether it is global e-commerce, whether it is global shipments, need to move beyond freight forwarding and become a global supply chain company. That's a great opportunity.
Initial 5 years of any entrepreneurs. So what is the personal trait is very important from your experience, sir?
I think the biggest personal trait is persistence and patience. Any new activity, any new business, it takes time. Success doesn't come overnight unless you win a lottery. It's a journey, it's a process. You need to work hard to find your first customer, to find your people, to find money. It takes time. You have to demonstrate that you have the ability to execute something successfully. So you have to have enough firepower which sustain you during the initial difficult period and be prepared for that. Be prepared for some difficulties initially. Things may not go as planned, at least initially. Every day will be a new day. Every day will pose a new challenge. So your ability to visualize those challenges and your ability to withstand those challenges, that trait is very, very important. You need to be patient, you need to be persistent, and eyes for detail, and also your desire that yes, I am the entrepreneur and I can do it. So the belief of can do is absolutely important.
Patience, persistence, and conviction in your own thought or your ideas.
True.
Keeping you understood. So let's move to the segment part of 2, sir. How entrepreneur find the market gap, identifying the market gap, right? So coming back on this point, generally people say about the entrepreneur, could be a temporary opportunity or temporary gap, or there could be a long-term sustainability of the business. How to distinguish between these two?
You see, in any market, any business, the opportunities always exist. And I have, this discussion is very, very common. And I am great believer in this thought of Mr. Shiv Kheda that winners don't do different things. They do things differently. The market gap exists for everyone. And it always existed. It will continue to exist irrespective of your UI, irrespective of your robotics, irrespective of anything. And that market gap is available to everyone. Why somebody is so successful and why somebody is not? So I always say कि चांदनी चौक में 2 साड़ी की दुकानें होती है, खाली बैठा रहता है, एक के यहाँ भीड़ लगी रहती है. They must be doing something different.
Something different.
Both are in the same segment, same business, same location, but they are not doing same. So basically, while the market gap and opportunity study, whether it is short term and long term, it will be available to you. You need to be very careful when you are planning your business that what is that which you are going to offer, which will enable you to cater to the market gap better than somebody else. That is absolutely important, that how you are going to execute your business plan so well, which will be better than your competition. And competition will always be there.
Absolutely.
Market gap is
Yeah, it is
always
always.
temporary. Market gap is never permanent. आज जो आइडिया आपके पास है आपने किया, आज who stops you from making another Facebook? There is no technology.
Correct.
आप बना लो दूसरा Facebook, but it's not that easy. See, the execution makes all the difference.
If in terms of a market gap, you already mentioned in your previous question, this cross-border is one area, world is become little smaller. So the cross-border logistics is a one market gap or an opportunity for any entrepreneur to get into this. Or beyond, as logistics getting into, integrated and their supply chain is getting a lot of technology implementation, any other opportunities you foresee for the entrepreneurs?
So yes, global supply chain I already mentioned. So that's a big opportunity. Second opportunity I say, which is again extension of my earlier remark, that the availability of skilled manpower will continue to remain challenge. So automation, because you see, there is no choice but to move towards automation. So automation is need of hour, and that's a great business opportunity as well. So people like maybe the large e-commerce platforms, they have already moved little bit towards the automation in their fulfillment centers and all. But beyond that, automation at every stage, whether through the use of software technology, AI tools, or whether it is through use of robotics, that is another business opportunity as well as the need for the logistics industry. I would recommend that people should look at that.
So we talk about efficiency is creating the opportunity for the skilling and automation.
Yes.
And cross-border. Another question in a different form on the same subject, like delivery or porter or SIPSI. I mean, there could be few more. R3, I can say, in delivery in terms of last mile and overall gamut of logistics, porter on an on-demand basis, and SIPSI is, transforming the supply chain automation. Any other unicorn you foresee to be getting created over a period of time in logistics segment?
So I would refrain from taking names because that might have different connotation. But I think anybody who is working towards automation with a combination of hardware and software, and when I say hardware, I mean use of robotics, and software, I mean use of AI tools and all that. Anybody who can use technology both for hardware and software for the benefit of logistics industry, which is replicable, which is affordable, and which is easy to implement, there is huge scope for that. And any company which is involved in that has every chance to become unicorn if they do it right.
So we'll move for a third segment of our discussion, sir, quickly. How entrepreneur create his founding vision, right, and remain stick to it, as you mentioned that patience and persistence is very important. So similarly, how we can create, or how entrepreneurs should create their founding vision and how important it is.
So whether we call it vision, whether we call it business plan, whether we call it execution strategy, it is just the same. So even before you start, you should be very, very clear what is your long-term game plan, what you are going to do, how you are going to do, and how are you going to put in place your building blocks, whether it is financial resources, whether it is human resources, whether it is technology, whether it is customer, or whether it is vendor. And then you need to map it against your own strengths. So everybody is not suitable for every job. Some idea may be great for some other person, but may not necessarily be for me. So I have to very carefully map my own strengths with my vision. And that alignment is absolutely important. If there is anything mismatch there, then there would be difficulties. So creating a long-term vision is very clearly making your long-term plan with a clear-cut execution strategy, and then avoid distractions, before you have moved to a particular milestone. That is another mistake, because very quickly I have seen
Distraction is very
youngsters
important,
that
right.
in 6 months they get frustrated and then they start moving here and there, and I would say then they move in a full circle and come back to the place from where they started. So avoiding that distraction is very important, and for that it is absolutely important that from day one you are clear this is what you are going to do with full conviction, as we said.
I can relate this from myself as well. I'm asking the supplement question again.
I know that.
How to
Okay.
keep that temptation controlled? Opportunity keep coming, लगता है ये भी कर लो, वो भी कर लो.
So you cannot do everything at a time. Number one, you have to understand that, because in the day you have only 24 hours and there are only limited number of hours you can work. Secondly, you cannot have diluted efforts, particularly when you are
Into serious.
starting something new. So spreading too thin is always a danger. Secondly, distractions will always be there. See, there are thousands and millions of ideas. You cannot work on everything. If you have started something and if you believe in your idea, make it big. Rather than trying to do something here, something there, why don't you focus on the core activity where you always believe that you are good at, you want to do this, you have conviction. So basically stick to that.
So what was the original vision of Dynamic Orbits, your founding vision of Dynamic Orbits? How over a period of it is evolved, and how exactly it is helping to the logistics industry?
So the vision from day one was very clear. We always wanted to help companies to grow. So the basic theme was supporting growth initiatives. The growth could be organic, growth could be inorganic. So whether you want to expand your business, whether you want to diversify your business, whether you want to raise funds, whether you want to acquire a company, or whether you want to be acquired, anything which supports growth, we are always involved. This was the vision from day one, and this continues to be the focus of the organization even today. In the last journey of 22 years, probably we must have worked on close to 150, 200 assignments exactly on the theme of growth. The nature of assignment could be different. It could be organic, it could be inorganic, it could be fundraising, it could be acquisition, whatever it is. And we always encouraged entrepreneur to think global. So cross-border business development has been a core activity for us, and we continue to focus on that.
How Dynamic Orbit is helping the logistics industry in this segment?
So I would say that it is exactly the same manner we are helping any other industry. So the issues related to any industry are more or less same, except for the core domain. Like logistics industry would be involved in transportation
Nature
or
of particularly,
warehousing, or a chemical
service,
manufacturing company will manufacture chemicals. But the fundamental business drivers, the way you conduct your business philosophy, your systems and processes, your way of thinking and your way of managing business would essentially remain same. So we have been fortunate enough to work closely with leading logistics suppliers and helping them to grow. And we have, I think we are happy that we have been involved in some very successful projects.
So you mentioned that your focus was on a growth. So within that, another question comes out: should entrepreneur be growth centric, or they should focus on a niche and be a little patient and build stronger first?
Both are mutually not exclusive. You see, without growth, it doesn't make any sense, because if you are doing a small business forever, it will neither motivate you or it will neither attract anybody
anything
else. But the growth has to be matched with your own focus, which could be a niche, which could be generic. So you start with a niche area, build a recognition, build proof of concept, build a right business model, and then you need to scale up. So both are not mutually
interrelated,
exclusive, but sequential, I could say.
So both has to go,
It has to.
together. So what are the real questions or critics, self-critic for an entrepreneur should be while investing any single rupee? What the question they should ask for themselves?
I think briefly I touched upon. I think the most difficult question, which sometimes the entrepreneurs fail to ask themselves, am I suitable for this business? Somebody else, my neighbor is doing great business in this. My friend is doing a great business. But do I
Can I
have
do it?
relevant skill set? Can I do the same thing? So matching your own skill set with my planned business, that is the most difficult
Most
question which should be asked ruthlessly to entrepreneurs should ask themselves. That is one. And secondly, you should find levers that if you are starting business, why you are starting that business? Do you know enough about that business? Do you have relevant background, or do you have an anchor customer, or do you have somebody who is willing to handhold you on that, or you have done enormous amount of study that now you feel fully convinced that irrespective of any specific lever I can do well. So you have to identify that what is the driver which gives me the confidence that I am going to be successful in this venture, and finding that driver is very, very important.
Right. So we have covered 3 segments. Now we are going to start the 4th segment, which is about lessons from logistics industry. Sir, you already mentioned earlier. We have also discussed in the first or second segment that logistics is going to into the automation force or phase or transformative journey of beyond logistics and transportation to an entire integrated value chain of supply chain.
True.
And you added to this very important part, global integration has become very important. So we identified 2-3 opportunity areas for the entrepreneurs. One is a cross-border, and the one we have also identified efficiency because of skilling and the shortage of the people. These 2 things are creating the entrepreneur opportunity. Now, which is the segment which is most vulnerable for disruption in logistics industry in your point?
I think the most vulnerable segment is, I would say, the large unorganized segment in logistics industry, which is still there in India. So you will find a lot of small entrepreneurs who have been in business for maybe 2 generations or 3 generations, but have never been able to scale up because of compliance issues, because of various the competition and the ability of large organizations to burn money and work at a lower margin or achieve economy of scale. These small entrepreneurs are going to find it very, very difficult. So either they need to consolidate, or they need to find a very clear niche that what would help them to survive. Otherwise, I am really worried about the thousands and thousands of small, whether you call it transporters or whether you call it warehousing players. They will have a great difficulty in period going to come, and people move to transition to the much more organized setup. They need to scale up either, or they need to consolidate, or they need to close down. The survival of smaller players is going to be very, very difficult in next 3, 5, 7 years.
So which are the main trigger point? I mean, in terms of the basically what I see, one is basically a vanilla transportation. FTL, we can call it, people do it. It is more than the logistics become a finance business, right? And the margin is very, very thin, and the control mechanism very low, and the huge number of players are there.
True.
So consolidation, can we go a little deeper into it? What are the mind they should apply? From there, they should start?
So I give in very simple language, which probably the industry will be able to correlate. In my own पर्सनल नेटवर्क, आई नो लॉट ऑफ पीपल, उनका काम यही था कि भाई बाजार में बैठे हैं, लोगों की बिल्टी काट रहे हैं,
करेक्ट,
200 रुपया बिल्टी का लिया और ट्रांसपोर्टर को मार,
करेक्ट.
नाउ टेक्नोलॉजी विल डू दैट जॉब, सो देयर रिलेवेंस इज गॉन. एक 2000 स्क्वायर फीट का वेयर हाउस ले लिया जिसमें कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर नहीं है, बस हॉल बना हुआ है, वहाँ जा करके आलू प्याज के बोरे रख दिया, गेहूं के बोरे रख दिया. दैट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन, बिकॉज जो कॉस्ट पर वो ऑपरेट कर रहे थे, the larger players are able to deliver the same service at same cost in much more efficient manner. मैं आपको क्लासिक एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मैं नेटिव प्लेस से कुछ चीज़ें कोरियर से मंगाता था, तो वो कोई रैंडम कोरियर से भेजते थे, वो 5-6 दिन लगाता था. अभी अमेजोन ने सर्विस कर दी, मेरे पास मैसेज आता है कि मतलब 200 रुपये का कोई भी पैकेट नीस पैकेट कुछ वहां से मंगाना होता है, वो भी अमेजोन डिलीवर कर रहा है. सो व्हाट विल हैपन टू द नीस कोरियर प्लेयर जो खाली 2-4 छोटी जगह में ऑपरेट कर रहा था? ही विल गो आउट ऑफ बिजनेस. सो आइदर दे फाइंड ए वेरी क्लियर नीस कि भाई इस एरिया में इस बिजनेस का मैं स्पेशलिस्ट हूँ, कोई बड़े वाला आ जाएगा तो मुझे चैलेंज नहीं कर पाएगा, अदरवाइज आई विल गो आउट ऑफ बिजनेस. सो वो सेगमेंट है, वो मोस्ट वल्नरेबल है. जो लोकल प्लेयर था, जो छोटे ट्रांसपोर्टर की खाली बिल्टी काट रहा था विदाउट ओनिंग एनी ट्रक्स और एनीथिंग, और इवन 2-4 ट्रक थे उसके, या जिसके पास 2-5 हजार 10 स्क्वायर फीट का था, घर खर्चा चल रहा था, वेयर हाउस लगा रखा था, तो लोग उसके पास नहीं जाएंगे. छोटे से छोटा दुकानदार जब अमेजोन का लॉजिस्टिक सर्विस अवेल कर रहा है, तो the smaller players will go out of business.
So maybe the learning from this particular segment, vulnerability of logistics industry, is coming up. If anybody is aspiring to be a entrepreneur in logistics, he should be averse of doing a vanilla business, just top up of certain kind of a cost plus model, or just जो सर ने अभी बोला कि बिल्टी काट रहे हैं. So that is not a scalable model in today's context. So let's move to the segment 5, sir. What are the early stage challenges? Because we would like to remain our focus idea to IPO and idea to creating a business identity and scaling further. So what kind of early stage challenges entrepreneur focus? So from your experience, what are those learning and inevitable challenges keep coming?
देखिए, अर्ली स्टेज चैलेंज में जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है, that is number 1, customer acquisition. You see, customer is not waiting for you. His requirement is already being serviced by someone else. You are going as a new entrant. First of all, the question is why he or she should move to you. What is that which you are offering, which the existing service providers is not offering? And even if you are able to convince them, they are not going to give you business overnight. वो आपको थोड़ा दिन देखेंगे कि ये 2 महीने 4 महीने सर्वाइव कर रहा है, 1 बार आया, 2 बार आया, 3 बार आया. तो यू शुड हैव एनफ पेशेंस कि भाई कस्टमर को चेंज करना पड़ेगा, एक बार जाने से मुझे बिजनेस नहीं मिलने वाला है. सेकंड, आई नीड टू ऑफर समथिंग ओवर एंड अबाउट द एग्जिस्टिंग कस्टमर इज ऑफर्ड. इट कुड बी क्वालिटी ऑफ सर्विस, इट कुड बी यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, इट कुड बी अ बेटर प्राइसिंग और व्हाटएवर. सो यू नीड टू बी द कस्टमर एक्विजिशन इन द इनिशियल फेज इज ए एक्सट्रीमली पेनफुल एक्सरसाइज. And to sustain yourself during that period, that firepower in terms of financial and manpower resources, that should be planned upfront. Business आने में time लगेगा, लेकिन खर्चा आपको पहले दिन से करना पड़ेगा.
Correct.
So you have to be ready with those tools before you hit the market. Otherwise आप सोचो कि मैंने आज शुरू कर लिया और कल से ही मेरे पास कस्टमर आ जाएंगे, बिजनेस आ जाएगा, मेरा कैश फ्लो पॉजिटिव आ जाएगा. That's not going to happen. So you should be prepared for first 6 months, 1 year, 2 year period where your cash flow will be negative, number 1. Number 2, you should be mentally prepared that customer is not going to give you business in the first meeting. You are lucky. Sometimes you may get because of your background and all.
Correct.
That's a different story, but we are talking in a general situation. So the biggest challenge in the initial period, I will believe that customer acquisition and convincing customer that you can do a better job than his existing service provider.
I read somewhere that founder should be a revenue driver. Despite he can build a strong team, he can bring the office, register the company, but bringing the sales stream revenue is the most important.
Absolutely.
Right? So which is what you were mentioning, sir. Finding customer is very important. And during this period, you are not getting customer, you are building team, your cash flow is negative. How another important, challenge keep coming, how to maintain the confidence.
That I think you have to evaluate even before you start.
Absolutely.
So we talked about the conviction, we talked about persistence, we talked about patience. So if you don't have that, then don't do that.
Yes,
आपको
absolutely.
अगर यही चिंता करना है कि आज शाम को मेरे कितना इनकम हुआ, तो then
तो you are not in a
don't
नौकरी कर लो. So another supplement question on this, how to deal with this? There could be a prolonged, pause. सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, मेहनत कर रहे हैं, but आ नहीं रहा है, So how to deal with that particular, phase?
There is no rocket science, but it is common sense. क्यों नहीं आ रहा है? देखिए, आप कस्टमर के पास गए और कस्टमर ने अगर आउटराइट रिजेक्ट कर दिया, दिस इज यूजलेस आइडिया. Customer and second situation is customer shows interest that let me think, let me observe. So you need to very carefully observe the response from your customers and market, that in what direction it is going. If you feel that the idea itself was a mistake and there is no taker, then recognize that failure early, accept that mistake, do a course correction. But you feel that I am in right direction, it is a natural journey and I am getting right response. It's only a matter of time before I get the business.
And again comes
so
to
you
the
need
patience.
to evaluate.
Yeah.
So that is what you need to very carefully ask yourself कि भाई मैं किस direction में जा रहा हूँ.
So the patience, persistence is keep coming back. At what stage the entrepreneur should think, let me professionalize the things, putting the right structure, because startup time everything has to be done. Resource planning is more important and firefighting things keep happening. And what stage they should professionalize the overall structure and the organization structure?
Professionalization doesn't mean building a battery of professionals. Professionalization means the way you function. You can work professionally even if you are a single person organization. How you build your systems, how you build your governance structure, how you build your documentation, how you build your compliances. That is what I would say collectively professionalization. In India, that has been a big problem, compliances, accounting issues and all that. So in spite of employing 500 people, there may be organizations who are not professionalized. And even with a team of 2 people, you can professionalize. So I would say professionalization and the number of people working in the organization, these are 2 different issues. You have to professionalize from day one. Your systems, your processes, your business practices, your compliances, your ethical standards, those should be in place from day one. So there is no stage. This has to be done from day one.
Only scaling could be a different, or multiplying the...
And scaling becomes much easier if you professionalize your atmosphere. If your foundation is strong, it is much easier to build a building.
Fine. Very
but
important.
If your foundation is weak, then it will develop cracks very soon.
So you mentioned in your earlier discussion that early stage mistake keep coming from the entrepreneurs about the distraction. They distract and look at the different opportunities. What are the other early stage mistakes generally entrepreneurs do which destroy a good business?
I have seen few startups, because we are talking about the new business age, chasing the so-called GMV rather than chasing profits.
Chasing the GMV, gross merchandise,
gross merchandising value or whatever. You have to do business, but it has to be profitable business. Yes, from a long-term point of view, you might sacrifice the profitability in the initial period. That is important, but you should be very clear that eventually, with this kind of business model, I am going to make profit and I am going to generate cash flow. Simply with the temptation of creating value and showing that this is my GMV, you start picking businesses or you start doing things which are not going to generate profit forever. No point in chasing those businesses. So that is another mistake, that people want to show growth, and to show growth, they would pick businesses which would never generate profit. That is another mistake.
So now we have covered 5 segments. We are going to come early stage mistakes we have covered. Now, since you come from the background of chartered accountant and company secretary and the financial, so numbers are very important for assessing the value or growth or finding the real cash flow situation of the organization, taking different decisions related with that. So what are in this segment we are going to discuss what numbers are matters, right? So first question rather on this segment, sir, what kind of a financial matrix is important, basic level for the startup?
You see, numbers are derivatives of your activities.
Yeah.
So the number revenue, it is a function of the business you generate, and then the cost is the amount you spend. So every number is important, but from a financial analysis point of view, the highest priority I would attach to cash flow. you have to be very careful about the cash flow because you cannot burn money forever. So you have to be very careful about your cash flows today, tomorrow, and day after. So long as you are watching your cash flow very carefully, the chances of your survival, the chances of your scaling up, and the chances of your success are much better. So you can have everything else in place, but if your cash flow is negative month after month, then it's going to be difficult.
So the cash flow trap is very, very dangerous for any organization, and people could be profitable, and a negative cash flow can, kill the organization.
Yes.
So can you give us one or more example, a little deeper on this? How, in particularly logistics industry or connected industry, cash flow trap ban jata hai for the entrepreneurs?
So this is a very common mistake. I think it's a very good question. See, when you plan your business, sometimes when you are not doing it scientifically, आप क्या plan करोगे कि what I need to start business? So I will need an office, I will need 2 trucks, I will need this warehousing. People tend to forget that there is something called working capital.
Yes.
And in India, it's a big problem. You see, the payment cycle is typically long. So if you don't factor in that, then you are in cash flow trap. So your profit and loss account will still show profit because you
Money lying
have
with the
bought something
customers.
for 100, sold something for 110. But if your payment is not coming for 3 months, 4 months, then the 10 rupees only on paper. It is not in your bank. But you need to pay salary. You need to pay to your supplier. Your vendors are changing. So that is the classic cash flow trap in a profitable business, but cash flow negative. So I have given a very simple example, but there are thousands of such examples, smaller businesses, large businesses, which are perpetually cash flow negative. Then you depend on borrowed capital, which increases your interest cost, and then you are in a classic debt trap.
How can founder or entrepreneur do the balancing between growth and financial discipline? As you mentioned that working capital is very important. So temptation is there for a growth, and there is some, challenge for the, increasing the working capital, or people maybe ignorance.
I don't think you need to balance. Both can go in parallel if your business model is right. Actually, the growth should generate more profit and more cash flow.
So business should be
and obviously the business should flourish.
Yeah.
So you don't have to compromise growth. You can still have financial discipline is important irrespective whether you grow or you don't grow. So financial discipline is a given. There's a prerequisite for running a successful business. And growth is important from a organization's future point of view. So you have to maintain discipline, but without losing sight to the growth. And both can go in parallel. You don't have to sacrifice one for another.
Then comes the question of funding. I mean, when you are going to scale up or numbers are going correct and your business is doing good or may not be, having some time to further grow, then you need a funding. So at what stage they should go for external funding or they should avoid external funding?
You see, external funding is again two-way, either equity dilution or loan. Every situation is different, and I think it will not be fair to give a straightforward answer because whether your balance sheet can sustain debt is the cheapest mode of funding. Go to bank, take bank loan. This is easiest and cheapest mode. But over leveraging is highly, highly dangerous. Whether your cash flow will be able to service that debt, that would decide whether you should go for debt or not. If not, then better take equity funding, which is expensive. But when you take equity funding, it comes with a lot of other baggage, management interference, dilution of ownership, future valuation, at what valuation you raise an equity and all. So I think it is difficult to give a simplistic answer. It will depend on case-to-case basis, but if your cash flow can sustain debt and if you are very confident about your future cash flows, then initially go for debt. And then when you reach a particular stage, create significant value, then go for equity dilution.
So that's the right
Don't
answer.
dilute early.
Yeah, early dilution may not be good until you are having a different kind of it's also related to the case-to-case as well.
Sure.
Absolutely right. Right, sir. So we are moving towards the closing segment, and we are looking for your personal wisdom and guidance for the people who are again aspiring to be the entrepreneur, or maybe the current entrepreneur, or looking for, doing merger and acquisition, restructuring their organization, and further growing. So what is your personal wisdom for a logistics startup people, and then followed by mid-level, they have, built a certain organization, or they're having a legacy organization?
So I would say there are enough opportunities. So don't shy away from embarking upon entrepreneurial journey. The message is plan well, execute well, have patience.
Another question comes, India is become now, in terms of geography, we call it Bharat. And earlier we are calling Bharat as a tier 2, tier 3 kind of a city, because of the large population reside in the rural, and because of technology and the social media, everybody is connected. So the growth in tier 2 and tier 3 is higher than the urban side of it. Both can have a different connotation. But yes, I am looking for, the question is mine, tier 2, tier 3 में logistics industry build करने के point of view से, startup build करने के point of view से, what is your advice for those level of entrepreneurs?
See, it's, I think partly you have answered yourself. With the use of technology, it's all one world. So the gap has already narrowed down. The level of awareness, the ecosystem, the aspiration level, the gap has significantly narrowed down. So practically the difference is not that much. However, still the one difference which is there is in terms of spending habits and ability to pay. And ability to pay is not about availability of money. Ability to pay is the mindset also. So when you are planning a business focused on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, you have to be mindful about the paying capacity or the willingness to pay.
Correct.
In the mind of customers.
Yeah.
So your business model has to be very cost efficient so that at the lower price band, you can still make money.
What will be your decision personally, sir, to invest in logistics startup? There could be 4 kind of categories: asset heavy, warehouse, or maybe a transportation asset owned, service based, and there could be a technology driven, or there could be AI implementation, there could be a green logistics. So you given a choice, where would you like to invest?
I think my take is again extension of my earlier remarks. Anything which is leading to automation and working more efficiently, whether it is with use of AI, whether it is use of automation tools, or whether it is use of green technology. So basically the market price will remain same for everyone. Anybody who can deliver services more efficiently and in a more cost effective manner will have better chances of success and making more money. So any venture with use of anything is moving towards automation and improved efficiency, I would invest there.
Improving efficiencies.
Yeah.
And earlier you mentioned the cross-border.
Yeah, so these are the two themes I am very bullish on.
Right, sir. So what is the last, your take, how logistics in 2035 going to look like or logistics industry of India look like on a global scale or global stage?
So I would say that rather than making a political statement, I would wish the Indian industry to create global large businesses, which we see in the like DHLs of this world. So I would like to say a few DHLs from India who are operating at global level, because we have all the enablers in place. Yeah. We have the people who can provide technology. We have the people who can work. We know the ecosystem. We are a large country ourselves. So what stops us from becoming large global players? The lack of capital is no more an excuse. There are global funds. If there is a right business model, they are able to invest any kind of money. So that should be the aspiration of Indian logistics industry, to create global powerhouse in logistics.
Right, sir. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for taking through the entire journey for a first episode of idea to creating the business identity. We shall be having further another 4 episodes, and we would like you to involve and you also to recommend certain guests in your reference who can take us through to next 4 episodes. And audience, I'm sure you should wait for another 4 episodes keep coming, and keep giving us critic comment or appreciative comment, whatever you feel like, so that we can further improve. And also keep sharing this video with the people who are really needing it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.